welcome to a very special reading vlog. It is spooky season, and I am dedicating each week of October to different themes of literature that I want to read. And this week's theme is Vampire Week. So sit back, relax. I hope you guys enjoy the reading vlog, and I'll see you at the end. Hello, welcome to video. My name is Laura and I'm starting Vampire Week, where I am reading only vampire books. Quick disclaimer, I am recording on my phone and I have very high anxiety, so this will be inverted and I am so sorry about that. So if you're new here, I have a very ambitious TBR list for October, and I did separate all my books in groups, and as I mentioned, this week is Vampire Week. I started and finished already Vampires of El Norte, and I want to give my final thoughts at the end of the video, but I will say that this was a great read. This was a great read, and if you decide not to finish the video, go ahead and pick up this book, Vampiros of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. I finished that book early yesterday. I was supposed to be working on my thesis, but I was not having a good time. I explain more in my weekly vlog. I don't know which one is coming up first, but in brief, I just had a small freak out moment and I had to quit writing my thesis for the day and pick up books. When I finished Vampiros of El Norte, I picked up Carmila by Joseph Le Fanu, and as you can see, I'm about halfway through it, and I'm having a great time. It's not what I was expecting. It's definitely sapphic, but obsession. I'm loving it. I really am. I'm hoping that I could finish this soon, I'm hoping that I could finish this today so that I could either end my day with Garlic and the Vampire or end my day starting Dracula. Yes, I'm having a great time. I think I picked pretty good books for this week. Happy Tuesday. Hello and happy Wednesday! As I mentioned in my last clip, I finished Vampiros of El Norte and I started Carmila, as you've seen in my last clips, hopefully. I'm actually finished with it. Honestly, this could have easily been a one-day read because, look how tiny it is, but I did start it pretty late Monday night. I did start it pretty late Monday night, and then Tuesday night, my niece and my sister and my niece came over, so I didn't have time. But this could easily be a one-day read. Again, I'll share most of my thoughts at the end of the video, but I am really happy of how easy this was reading, just because the language or the writing style in Dracula is just a little more difficult for the average reader, and this one was so easy peasy, easy to read, or at least in my opinion. And the best part, as you saw, is that it's illustrated, which, to be honest, I did not notice. I actually didn't notice that it was illustrated until I actually started reading it, or I skimmed through it before I started reading it, and that's when I actually noticed the illustrations. I was like, oh, that's so cool. And since last night I finished Carmilla pretty early, I actually also finished Garlic and the Vampire. Cutest thing ever. Cutest thing ever. I know I'm technically in a book buying ban, but I went ahead and also bought Garlic and the Witch, which
which if it gets here on time, it will hopefully read it in a later vlog. So today I am actually giving myself another break on my thesis because your girl did have a small panic attack in the morning, and I feel like I owe myself that break. You know, we have to start being nicer to each other. Self-care is very important, and today's just one of those days, you know? So that means that I will be starting Dracula. I still can't get over how beautiful this edition is. I'm hoping it's a fast read just because I have read most of it, but if not, it's okay. Today is Wednesday, so I am rushing through this week, and I'm excited, but I feel like it's a perfect day to start Dracula because of how big it is compared to the last books that I just read. And yeah, let's get to reading. Happy Friday, everyone. So as you guys saw, I started Dracula, and I'm only 100 pages in. This is a slow read like I anticipated. I don't know, like Joseph Le Fanu's Carmila was a lot easier to read, and it came out before Bram Stoker, but he's just so, I don't know. I'm a big brain girly. I love classics, but I do tend to slow down when I'm reading classics. So it's like, I know I could be further, but this is a slow read. However, that does not mean it's bad. Because like I said, this is technically a reread. I've just never finished it for school. I always get to a certain point where halfway through it, I'm just so overwhelmed with school, and I'm not going to make it an important text for me that I just like let it drop. But like I was saying, I forgot how creepy this book actually is when you're paying attention. So like when you're lost in what you're reading, I'm not saying that I was scared, but there were a lot of moments where he describes like dead bodies and the way Dracula climbs the castle where you're just like yes, like so basically I'm remembering the appeal about it. You know, Carmilla wasn't really that scary. I'm glad that like that creepy element has finally came in. And yeah, because this is a slow read, I'm not sure if I'm going to finish this in time for Vampire Week to be over. I need to edit the video and everything like that. But next week is actually Classic Horror Week. It was originally going to be Shirley Jackson Week, but I'm going to switch around some other books, and I'm basically going to focus on classic horror in general. So this will most likely transfer into the next week, which is fine. You know, the other books that I want to read are a lot shorter. I think the most pages are 200 and this is 400, so I think that balances it out. But yeah, I am having a good time right now for spooky season, and that is the reading update that I have for you so far. Hi again. So it's the end of the video, and now it's time for my thoughts. Again, disclaimer, I am recording on my phone and I have very bad anxiety, so everything is inverted. So the most recent book that I'm ending the week is Dracula, and I actually haven't finished this book, so I'm only gonna give you the thoughts that I have right now. Next week is actually classic horror, and that one next week's books are a lot smaller, so I am planning on rolling over Dracula to next week, and you'll see my full thoughts next week. Sorry. But so far, I'm giving Dracula a very good review. I actually forgot how creepy it can be when you're really paying attention. Sometimes it is really hard to read classic English, you know, the Bronte sisters, Jane Austen, Bram Stoker. I personally, for me, these are very slow reads just because of the way they speak. When you're really paying attention and understanding what you're reading, the descriptions could really get to you. I completely understand why Dracula is a classic, and I'm excited to finish it so I could have all my thoughts. But yes, I am still unfortunately working on Dracula. Now, the first book that I actually read this week was Vampiros of El Norte by Isabel Caña, and this was such a good book for me. I loved it so much. Spoiler alert, I loved every book here. None of them has disappointed me. But Vampiros of El Norte was just so good. So I personally don't go for straight up romances. I love it when a book has a romance in the background, but there's more to it. So I would call this a horror romance because it's about two people who grew up together and then they ended up growing apart and they found each other again, and they're dealing with their relationship in the middle of the Mexican American War and in the middle of fighting vampires. And it's just Isabel Caña's writing is so fun. It's a really easy and fast read, and her details are just so good. I'm sorry, I don't really like review books, so this is kind of like new to me, but I really liked it. Vampires of El Norte and La Hacienda are great books. I 100% recommend them, and I am definitely going to be following her work very, very closely from here. So the next book that I read is Carmila by Joseph Le Fanu, and I actually got a beautiful illustrated version. Carmilla is supposedly the first vampire book or vampire novel that was written that inspired Dracula, and you could definitely see some of the early ideas of what a vampire is. I love Joseph Le Fanu's writing, even though it is, you know, the classic English type. It's a lot easier to read. Carmilla is a lot easier to read than Dracula. I will say that for sure. This was such a fast read, and I loved how gay it is. I love it. Carmilla, I know she's the antagonist, but she does have my heart. Maybe it's the illustration. And then our main character is named Laura, so I obviously really liked it. I do wish, kind of with Vampiros of El Norte, I do kind of wish that the horror element was a little more, you know, just a little more up there. I mean, but other than that, I can't really complain. I have heard about this one for years now, so I'm actually glad that I finally got around to it. And if you're looking for a short, fun read, I definitely recommend it. The ending was a little lackluster, but it didn't ruin the whole experience altogether. It was still a good time reading the entire thing. And my final book that I read this week, the book that I read before I started Dracula, is actually the graphic novel For Garlic and the Vampire by Brie Paulson. Let me show a little garlic. I mentioned in one of my vlogs that I am new to graphic novels, and this was such a good time. It is the cutest little thing I've ever read. Garlic is me. Little Garlic is all of us, honestly. I love her so much. And I actually already went ahead and bought Garlic and the Witch, so I will definitely be reading that in one of my future reading vlogs. It is so... Garlic and the Vampire is definitely comfy and cozy and very, very, very fun to read. I 100% recommend this and every other book that I have in this video, honestly. Again, my last book that I was reading is Dracula, but as I mentioned earlier, I'm not done and I want to finish it. I hope you guys enjoyed my very first kind of strictly reading vlog. If you're interested, next week is classic horror, and this is the end of the video. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll hopefully see you guys in the next one.